All right. Welcome to YouTube Talk. It's Friday, January 22nd, and we are going to get right into it. Want to introduce folks on the panel to start. I'm Sean, of course. We got Cisco, we got J Mac, and want to welcome in Mr. Cheesehead himself, Ashton the Ring, Mike D. What's going on, brother?
Chilling. Just want to say peace, everybody.
Yeah, what up? What up?
All right. So it's been an interesting sports day. I know we said we were going to obviously chop it up about these championship games this weekend. This is the Final Four weekend in the NFL. But before we do that, we got to talk about, kind of the news of the day, very sad news with the passing of Hank Aaron. So, J Mac, I want to come to you first on your thoughts on Hank Aaron. You are our resident Braves fan, been a long time Braves fan. Just kind of your thoughts around Hank Aaron.
Hammering Hank. 23 seasons, most of them with Atlanta, ATL. He was a great player. He especially was great in a time where we needed our great athletes to be great. But he was great on the field and off the field. His dedication to equal rights, respect for the minority athletes, demanding respect was very. He showed a lot of bravery and courage in an era where racism was at an all-time high. But here's the deal. To be honest, what pisses me off, and this is just about society. You got a sport, the sport of baseball. Predominantly, when it started, it was pretty much 100% white. When the black athletes came in, of course, it is expected for it to be some backlash. But their hero, their all-time hero, Babe Ruth. He hit a leather ball with a wooden bat over a fence 714 times. Now, if that was and just to make it real simple, if a kid takes a piece of wood, a wooden stick, he's out there playing with his friends, and they're throwing a tennis ball or any type of ball, just put it in perspective. You take a wooden bat, a leather ball, and you knock it over a fence 714 times. So in their eyes, he was the greatest ever. However, when the sport evolved and more black athletes got integrated in the game, everybody learned that these athletes were superior athletes. And Hank Aaron was definitely one of the most superior athletes we've had in the history of sports. When he hit number 715 in Atlanta, that should have been nothing more than celebrated. It should not have been demonized. He should not have had to worry about his way home that night. He should have never had to worry about his family being safe because he hit a ball with a wooden bat over a gate more times than the last person that did it. But I will say his courage to continue to play, to continue to defy the odds, to play that long in Major League Baseball stands a, it says a lot. but his activist work is never being shy from a speaking moment to uplift and to provide support for our people. And but I can ramble about him all night. But as far as respect goes, the ultimate respect goes to Hank Aaron. I'm proud that I was able to live during a time where he had an influence on society, not just the sports world, but on American society. So salute to you, Hank Aaron. Salute to your family. Nothing but love and respect. And I'm gonna say this fun fact. I used to ride by his house all the time, not like a stalker, but I used to on that side of town in Atlanta, used to always ride by his house, find myself over that way. You couldn't see in there, but just to ride past and say a legend lives there was good enough for me.
Hey, thanks for that, J Mac. And Mike, I want to come to you next, man. Just your thoughts on, the news of the day with Hank Aaron, and obviously, you're a Green Bay fan. He, spent part of his career in the Wisconsin area in Milwaukee. So I just want to hear your thoughts on Hammer and Hank.
Yeah, man. Just like J Mac said, man. The fact that he was able to defy racism, both on the field and off the field, man. Paved the way for a lot of African American athletes in general. Like he said, on all sports. Me being Puerto Rican, I actually lived in Milwaukee for a long time. Hence why I'm a Packers fan. I was at a medical appointment this morning. When I came back, as soon as I walk in the house, and my wife was watching the news, and finding out that Hank Aaron passed, man, this past year in general was rough. Yeah. Just losing a lot of athletes and a lot of great people, just in general, especially with everything that's going on right now with social injustice and all that stuff. But no, my wife and kids, man. My wife is, she's Black, so this affects everything that everything that's been going on right now affects not just us, but the whole society in general. So like J Mac said, man, I everything that Hank Aaron has done as an athlete, being 6 feet, 180 pounds. I played baseball before. I know how hard it is to play baseball, and the fact that he's able to do what he did, it's an incredible feat, man. And I pray for his family. I wish him, wish his family the best in these tough times. And yeah, man. I mean, that dude's a hero, man. All the King Griffey Jr., all these other athletes that look up to that dude. I mean, he was a total package on the field, and he did that in tough time in those tough environments. So I'm gonna leave it at that, man. Thank you.
And thanks, Mike. And definitely appreciate the perspective. Cisco, I want to come to you next. Just your thoughts on the news of the day with the passing of Hank Aaron.
When you talk Hank Aaron, and you talk Hank Aaron, you talk Jackie Robinson, you start talking about players who suffered greatly on the field, off the field, in reference to how the United States treated them. And through all that and that perseverance, they were still able to make positive impacts to everybody of all races and all colors. It doesn't really matter. And just to put into context for what he accomplished, Sandy Koufax is considered one of the greatest pitchers of all time, top 3, top 4 all time. Against Hank Aaron, though, Hank Aaron had 114 career hits against him, or at bats, excuse me. Aaron hit for 368 with an on-base percentage of 433. And I forgot how many home runs. But, just if you want a blueprint on how to do something, you look at certain key people. You look at Dr. Martin Luther King. You look at Hank Aaron. You look at Lee Mays Hayes. You look at Jackie Robinson. People that have set the standard for all people to benefit. You can't say enough about what he did and what he continued to do at his post career and how revered he was throughout the baseball world. He was literally a living legend. So.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Cisco. And it's been really interesting today. Obviously, you had a lot of people talking about him all day, and his baseball accomplishments, which I mean are almost second to none if you really think about it. I mean, the interesting stat for me that I heard today. I mean, I knew it, but it was just kind of like really putting in perspective. Was if we took away all 755 of his career home runs, he would still have over 3,000 hits. Which is, that's just amazing. He wasn't the biggest guy, obviously, as Mike said, 6 feet, barely 180 pounds. And he he gave you everything he had, on the baseball diamond. But I think even more important than that was, as great a baseball player as he was an even better man. He was great and gracious at the same time. He didn't have to tell you how great he was as a baseball player because everybody talked about him. And he wasn't bombastic. He wasn't braggadocious. He was gracious, and people, talking about, who had opportunity to meet him and see him in person, and just he was always very polite. I never got to meet him. I did get to see him a few years ago at an event, but I didn't get to meet him formally. But just how great he was, and really looking back at his life, how he was the last player from the Negro Leagues to make it to the major leagues, which is really interesting when you think about it. And he only played 1 year in the Negro Leagues. He played with Satchel Paige, and then to come to the major leagues and have the career he did was just really amazing. And then he kind of took the mantle from Jackie Robinson of really being the player and the person who was fighting for more inclusivity for people of color in managerial positions and in front office positions, and he was interested in being the commissioner of baseball. I know he had a close relationship with Buzz Selig at one point, and then his life. So it's really, really interesting just to talk about Hank Aaron, but I don't think his legacy will go away. I got to go to Boogie. Just join us, man. What you got on Hank Aaron, man? The news of the day about Hank Aaron.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. I mean, another great passing, man. This. I mean, he was a legend. I remember when I was a kid. I'm almost 50 now. I was a kid watching Aaron, man, and just all these legends passing. I don't know what we're gonna do these days, man. Hey, we got the new kids coming up. They holding it down, but this is sad about Aaron, man. It's sad, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. So. We don't want to spend all night on this. Obviously, we could do an entire stream on just Hank Aaron and his career, but we didn't want to, start the stream tonight without at least acknowledging his contribution, not just to the game of baseball, but to, the world as it is. So rest in peace, Hank Aaron. And we are, grateful for what you did while you were here. All right, so let's talk a little football, if you all don't mind. Obviously,
okay, let's talk football then. Let's get it.
This is Final Four weekend. First game of the on the slate Sunday is at 3:05 Eastern Standard Time, featuring the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Green Bay Packers. So I really want to do kind of a deep dive into this thing because, again, we only got 2 games this weekend and really want to get everybody's thoughts just on the game in general and how they're looking forward to the matchup. So, Mike, I got to come to you first because obviously you are the resident cheesehead. Give us your initial thoughts about going into the game, kind of what your expectations are, for the game this weekend.
Right. So obviously the old school battle of the Bay, man, the original NFC Central Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming to Lambeau. So my initial take is I want to say, I want to kind of guarantee that it's not going to be like the first time they met. This is completely two different teams, I believe. I think Tampa Bay kind of was trying to get that continuity going in the beginning, and then Green Bay still kind of, and I think we talked about this during the fantasy draft when I said Aaron Rodgers is going to go off this year. And probably no one believe me, but, second year with Matt LaFleur and that system, I think he's got it down. I think the defense has stepped up. Definitely for at least last 6 games. I think we're one of the hottest teams coming into the playoffs right now. So I really think it's going to be a close game. I can, not being biased, but I think it's going to go either way. Everybody's saying the weather's going to play a factor. I mean, Tom Brady played in that type of weather. So I don't think that's going to be a weather. I think it's going to be a running game because I believe there's going to be snow showers and stuff like that. But no, I expect a good game. Of course, I expect Green Bay to be on top, with home field advantage. And I just think Green Bay is hot at the right time right now. So I expect a, 21-24 type of game.
124 Green Bay. So any concerns from you as a Packer fan about the run defense, or do you feel like you guys got that cleaned up last week against the Rams?
I said during the draft, and I still stick to it. I feel like it's going to come and bite us. I wasn't a fan of how we did in the draft. I think we addressed things that we didn't need at the time. I felt defense was a big plus, especially after what San Francisco did to us last year in the running game. And I don't think we improved much in the running game. So I think Tampa Bay is going to come out trying to run the ball. And I think at the end of the day, I think that's probably going to – if that's going to be our downfall, it's going to be the run defense. That's for sure.
All right, Bookie, I want to come to you next, man. Give us your thoughts on the game. What you looking forward to Sunday in the matchup?
Well, initially, I thought that Tampa was going to be a little bit too strong. But then I looked at the news today and I see that AB is out of the game. So that kind of opened the door, I think, for me as far as Green Bay, because Green Bay is hot. He's absolutely right. The gentleman that just spoke, he's absolutely right. But I thought AB was going to be that X factor. But with him being out for the game, I don't know. I mean, Evans can hold it down, but I just don't see him pulling it out. Not without AB. He was the key point for me. So that's my take on it.
All right, Cisco, coming to you. What you got on the game this weekend? What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't want Tom Brady to win another Super Bowl because I have a big old cup. Shut the hell up. Because I will no longer be able to say he's not the GOAT. To me, he's not the GOAT. He'll never be the GOAT. But with 7 Super Bowl rings, 2 different teams, you got to tip your hat to the man. I agree. I am nervous about the run defense for the Green Bay Packers. But they can't be reliant on them being used to the cold. But if they're able to just cancel out the run game or maybe get up to a quick 14-point lead, because the secondary has been exposed, the wide receiving core, and of course, I believe their tight end is really going to play a big picture or play a big game in this, especially when those third and shorts or even in the end zone or red zone. So I pick Green Bay. I need Green Bay to win this game. But, at the same time, like I said, we'll see.
Yeah, J. Mike, what you got?
Aaron Rodgers is going to throw for 10 touchdowns, no interceptions, make a snow cone. No, I got Green Bay, man. The first game they played, I'm not even thinking about that. That was so long ago. And it looks like at that game they kind of mailed it in after they started making mistakes. After Aaron Rodgers made those 2 back-to-back mistakes, they kind of ran the ball and was like, this ain't our day. Playoffs is different. Aaron Rodgers, to me, has a lot to prove, especially in this moment. He doesn't have anything to prove as far as his ability, as far as his talent, but he needs. I think he needs this W over Brady. That's going to be very, very beneficial for him in his career. The thing about Brady is, I can't stand Skip Bayless, but he is right. It's hard to bet against him. Hard to bet against Brady. You have to respect the fact that he's still playing good football. He has a good team, good enough team to win the game. I just think going up to Lambeau, that home field advantage, even though fans are going to be there, right? Because fans has been there throughout this playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not so much Tom Brady that I'm not concerned with. It's his supporting cast. He's taking a team that not very many of them understand this moment. You know, so he has Gronk, which I look to see a heavy dose of Gronk, even though he didn't play worth the crap last week. I expect Fournette to get a lot of touches. He earned it from his play last week.
Right.
I just don't have any faith in Mike Williams in the cold. And like Boogie said, with AB being out, that's a threat that you don't have to prepare for.
Right.
And Chris Godwin is good, but he's not scaring you. Now defensively, when has Green Bay been a above average running game? Running defense, run defense. When have they? That's generally we don't. When you say Green Bay, you don't say, man, they got a hellified run defense, man. I don't know how somebody run. No, you mentioned Aaron Rodgers in his receivers, Devontae Adams, his tight end. You mentioned the offensive side of the ball because Green Bay has one of the best quarterbacks who can just throw any type of ball you can think of. Outside of Mahomes, I don't think you go further down the line without mentioning Aaron Rodgers. So I got Green Bay winning the game. I think it's going to be tough. I want to see a good, tough matchup like I did last week when Tampa Bay played the Saints. Jockeying for position, field position, not turning the ball over is going to be key. Because if you turn the ball over against Tom Brady, that's how he stays within reach if he's down during the course of a game. And then the coaching gets tight. The coaching gets real tight.
Yeah.
Without expounding on too much of the coaching, I'll let you add it, Sean, but I got Green Bay winning the game 31-28.
31-28.
Yeah.
And I want to come back to Mike because there's a matchup I'm looking at. It's kind of a dual matchup, but I'm looking at Gronk and Mike Evans versus Donnell Savage and Jair Alexander. I think Alexander is the corner nobody talks about in the NFL. That dude is seriously, he should be in the conversation of top 5 corners in the NFL. I think he and Howard in Miami are 2 guys nobody talks about. So when we talk about that matchup, what are y'all thinking about those particular matchups? Because I think Savage is going to get Gronk a lot, in coverage. And obviously I think Alexander will be on Mike Evans.
Right. And like you said, like you're right. You're absolutely right. Jair Alexander, man. This dude, he puts the work in. You can see it on the field. He's all over the place. And correct me if I'm wrong, but according to Pro Football Focus, he's number 1 rated cornerback in the league. So when it comes to Mike Evans, he's going to have to use his physicality against Jair Alexander because for his size, he's just a physical corner, but he doesn't get the credit because he's not so outspoken like majority of those other cornerbacks that play in the league. But you're absolutely right. Jair Alexander, man. I think he pretty much shuts that side of the field down. So I think I'm sorry, man. I forgot your name, man. I'm horrible at this.
No,
like he said, they don't get that secondary doesn't get the credit because they don't got 15 interceptions, in the season. But believe it or not, a lot of people are forgetting about Kevin King and his size. So I wouldn't be surprised you see Kevin King on Mike Evans a little bit, just to because I can almost guarantee they're going to move Godwin in the slot position, quite often,
right?
Just to spread them out a little bit. And then Savage, second, I think it's the second year in the league. Both Jair Alexander and Savage coming in the league together, and they showed a huge improvement. And I think that's going to be a tough matchup for Savage, though. I think Savage is going to have a harder time with Gronk than Jair Alexander is going to have time with Mike Evans.
Yeah. And one thing I noticed when I watched the game last week, particularly against the Rams, I thought the Rams. I picked the Rams in the game only because I thought the Packers were going to miss Bakhtiari a lot, but the Rams got really no pressure on Aaron Rodgers. So it seems like they've been able to kind of just fill in and help each other out. And the other guy I was noticing was Elton Jenkins, the guard. He's a really good football player. So I'm curious to watch how he'll do, because there's a possibility that Vita Vea may come back, and I think that will be an interesting matchup if Vita Vea plays. I don't know how effective he'll be, but they're saying he may play. But Boogie, I want to come to you on that. You know, what matchups are you looking at in that game and thinking this could be the difference maker?
Well, I think that if Gronk gets hot, we know that can't nobody like, you can't guard him once he gets going, just how big and how physical he is. And him and Brady, they do have that rapport from being in New England, so that's definitely one. But Godwin and Brady, they've been doing their thing also, and it's kind of crazy because, like, not to get off subject or anything, but I've actually been down to like 3 or 4 of the Tampa games because my best friend that lives in Rhode Island has season tickets to Tampa, so I drive from Pensacola down there to check them out, you know. So I'm not a Tampa fan, Dolphins fan, but just seeing them play live, and like, if them boys get hot, they're gonna be something special. But like I said, I still take my pick with Green Bay by 3, 21-24, and I think that Green Bay can lock them down if they got a double Gronkowski in the soft zone. That's what they have to do in order to beat them.
Yeah, Cisco, coming to you. What you got?
Well, for me, it's who do you trust, right? Matt LaFleur, the system he comes from, and what he's done in transforming the Green Bay offense and getting everybody to buy into that, I think that's special. They were in the NFC Championship game just last year, so they know the moment, they recognize the moment, right? I don't trust Bruce Arians. I don't trust his play calling, because the first thing he's going to do if they lose, he's going to put it on Tom Brady. When you start doing stuff like that, that means there's a lack of trust. That means you're not going to be able to, or this is a lack of trust. At the same time, system versus system, I think QB versus QB is a pick 'em, right? You know, but if you give me a choice between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, I'm going Aaron Rodgers. But for me, it's the system setup, the coaching setup. I believe, like you said, Sean and Mike, them being able to lock up. I'm not saying they have to lock up Mike Evans. You have to pay attention to him, because every other play he's going to walk off the field. He's going to be, come get me. But I think if they're able to lock down Gronk, concentrate on Gronk, and force him into uncomfortable situations, allow them to sell out against the run, I think Green Bay gets it. I think system-wise, schematic-wise, if I need a coach to drop a game plan between those two, I'm not relying on Bruce Arians. No, I'm not going to do it. Risk it, no biscuit? No, you can't do that. You got to play smart. I think that edge goes to the Green Bay Packers and the Cheeseheads.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I think what's going to be interesting is to watch Matt LaFleur's play calling against the aggression of the defense with Todd Bowles, because we know Todd Bowles, he doesn't really change his game plan. He's going to come after you. They're going to try to man up outside. I think Devontae Adams will have some advantage regardless of who's covering him, just because. And you saw this last week in the game. They moved him around quite a bit, and it really they tried to have Jalen Ramsey shadow him the entire game, but it didn't seem to work because they were moving him. And I mean, they were snapping on the move. The touchdown he caught, that was they stole that from the Alabama-Ohio State game, but but it was, they were moving him around, and I think that's going to really throw that Tampa defense off. And also the thing with Matt LaFleur that I enjoy is with his play calling, particularly early in the games, he's setting you up for later. So he's going to give you a formation look early in the game, and it's going to be a pretty basic look, but then he'll come back later in the game with that same look, and defense will be thinking, oh, we saw this earlier, this is what they're doing. And Aaron Rodgers, being the magician he is, will pull something out of the hat, and all of a sudden 60 yards later they're in the end zone. So I want to really look at that matchup, watch the play calling of LaFleur versus the aggression of the Todd Bowles defense. And also, if I'm Jair Alexander, I'm pulling out film of Marshawn Lattimore and what he does against Mike Evans, because he takes Mike Evans out of the game every single time they play. And I'm guessing he probably, watched some film on him. So, any more thoughts on this game? Anything you think could factor in? Worried about the kicking game or anything like that with the weather?
Yeah, I tend to think once again, you can't give Brady the short field.
Right.
You cannot give him a short field. If
Right.
Green Bay gets into this, gets high in the turnovers, I don't care if it's 2 or 3. They're going to allow Tampa Bay, if they got great field position, they're going to allow him to exploit that matchup with Gronk.
Right.
Because I see Green Bay almost having to try to double Gronk because they're not going to be fearful of the outside.
Right.
So, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and the one matchup I didn't mention, the guy I want to look for in this game too is Tanyan. Because Tanyan I think is going to be a huge key in this game, because again I think Tampa Bay is going to kind of shift their focus to Devontae Adams, knowing how dangerous he is. I think Tanyan's got to have an 8 or 9 catch game, and in the red zone he's going to probably have to be that number 1 target, because again he's not necessarily the biggest guy, but his movement in the red zone I think is going to be key, especially if Rodgers has to roll. So we'll see. Yeah. So
I got one alibi real quick. So I think Green Bay thrives off of scoring right off the bat, being ahead. And I think that's going to play the factor as well. I think if I correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're the number 1 team as far as scoring off first possession right off the bat. So that puts a lot of pressure on the opposing team to have to either score or they're going to be behind possibly 2 scores.
Right.
Just because of how Green Bay, like you said, that system, like Cisco said, that system that they got in place is like favors the Packers and Aaron Rodgers and that offense. So I think that's going to play a big factor as well. I know the first game Green Bay was up 10-0, and like you said, those turnovers back to back, and next thing you know they're behind. So I'm going to say that possession, that first possession is going to be huge.
Yeah, I think so. And then I think too, especially, setting that tone early in the game of, okay, this is what we're planning to come out and do. Here's how we're going to attack. Tampa's secondary is, they take a lot of chances. They tend to gamble. They can be very handsy. My guess is if I'm Green Bay, I'm letting the officials know, hey, these guys like to get really handsy down the field. Just be on the lookout for that. So I'm really going to be watching for how much the officials are letting guys play down the field. But I want to ask a question, and again, we just have some conversation about this. Which quarterback needs this game more for their legacy?
This legacy-wise, Aaron Rodgers needs this, right? He needs this. Because he's always been in the conversation. Even with 1 Super Bowl, he's always been the top tier quarterback in the NFL since pretty much year 5. Whether or not Tampa Bay loses or wins or lose, I think no matter what, Tom Brady's coming back next year. He'll give it one more go. But to say that you beat, because on the same side, flip side of that, Tom Brady hasn't beaten any contemporaries or potential Hall of Famers in any type of game. Drew Brees has I think a winning advantage on him. I know Eli beat him twice. We all know Eli beat him twice in the Super Bowl. So I'm interested in seeing how Tom Brady fares against the better tier quarterbacks in these crucial moments.
You talking about just in the playoffs?
No, I think overall record, Drew Brees has a winning record versus Tom Brady.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. But he did beat the hell out of Aaron Rodgers this year.
He did, He did, but I'm just interested to see what happens.
Now, I don't like to say that, but he did. I'm just,
Yeah, I got your point. I really do. But I think in this moment, if Aaron wins this one, and then he wins Super Bowl, gotcha, bitch.
But here's the deal. What about this? If Tom Brady wins, how is New England looking right now?
I don't want to get that part of the debate. There's no way, because you're not gonna. I can't. I just can't. If you're asking me if Tom Brady could, or if the Patriots picked a different quarterback, almost any one of them, I don't care. I think they may not have 6 rings, but they'll have some Super Bowl rings. I think that credit goes to Belichick. That's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe even both of them, but it is what it is.
How's Belichick looking right now?
I'll give him a year. Give him a year. He'd be all right.
Well, for that year,
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady, if he wins this game and ultimately goes on to win the Super Bowl, that year is going to turn into a lifetime.
No,
7 chips. I don't know how you deny it.
But
either way, to me, it all depends on what side of the coin you're on anyway. There's people that always vouch for Belichick, and there's always people on the side of Brady. The media is going to sway towards Brady if he wins this game and plays well. But here's the deal. For me, last week when they played the Saints, Leonard Fournette was the difference maker in that game. Leonard Fournette was. And he showed he can be very versatile. He was running in between the tackles, and he was catching the ball. So he's definitely going to have to be someone to really scout. So let's just
hey guys.
Hey, Brendan just joined us. Hey, Brendan, welcome in.
Hey, what's up, Brendan?
What's up, guys? I got a couple questions for the whole panel here this evening, if you don't mind. My first question would be, what is the opinion of the panel if Davante Adams gets erased in this game? It's not likely, but it could happen. They could game plan to erase Davante Adams, and then what do you think will happen to the Green Bay offense if that does happen? And the second part is, what happens, which I think is more likely, what happens if Tom Brady's deep ball is erased? In other words, any throw over 15 or 20 yards is taken away from Brady. Does Tampa have a chance of winning the game?
I'll answer the first question. So I would say and I could be wrong, but I think Cisco brought up a good point about how Matt LaFleur schemes a plan, and I'm pretty sure that's probably one of the plans. They're going to probably try to erase Davante Adams, and that's when Alan Lazar and Tanya, like Sean said, is going to have to step up. And there's also those running backs. A lot of people don't get those running backs. The three-headed monster. Those guys can catch from the backfield. Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and AJ Dillon. Those guys are they utilize a lot in motion, and put them out there in the flats, and those guys can catch and run after the ball or run after the catch. So I would think, like last week, Adams didn't. He had like 60 yards and a touchdown. He didn't do much, but they used him as a decoy, and look who stepped up. Alan Lazar stepped up and he had 100 yards and a touchdown. And to include Tanya too. So
yeah, and Adams had 9 for 66, so it wasn't like he had this.
They were just moving him around. They were using him as a decoy. They were moving him around the formations to open up for everybody else.
Yeah. Anybody want to take the shot at the second?
What was the second? If they take the deep ball away
from Tom Brady.
From Tom Brady, yeah.
Well, he's a dink and dump guy anyway. Again, like I said, with what Fournette brought to the table last week, it shows that if they do take that deep ball away, they're going to have to really pay attention to Fournette coming out of that backfield, as well as the tight end. I think I think Tampa Bay can have some success, but I still don't see Tampa Bay winning this game. They give up more points and they score less than Green Bay on average. I just don't think I think Green Bay can rush the ball good enough to control the pace of the game. But Tom Brady, again, Mike Evans is a rhythm receiver. He needs his touches and he needs to get things going early. So that's more than likely going to happen that deep threat to Mike Evans. But Chris Godwin is good stretching the field as well. So just the other player is going to have to step up. That's what I would say to that.
Yeah, and in last week, and it's just going to come to you in a second, but last week, New Orleans basically stayed in a two deep shell most of that game. So they were really trying to keep the big play from happening. And defensively, actually, even though New Orleans lost the game, they actually played really well because the Bucs only had one long drive, and that was the last drive of the first half to get the score before halftime. So, again, I know it's a copycat lead. I kind of expect Green Bay to do some of that same, give them some of that same look, particularly because their corners can play man for a few seconds. But also, I think it's going to come down to the Smith brothers and Gary being able to get some pressure on Brady from the edge. I know Kenny Clark, is pretty decent up the middle, but for me, it's got to come from that edge. That's where you got it. You're gonna have to try to get Brady off his spots as much as possible, because when he's off his spots, he's not throwing deep like that.
Hey, I want to say something about Brady and Rodgers. That was a great question because both of those quarterbacks we have seen over the years that they have the ability to play with less. So they've had situations where their star players have been out and they still was able to produce. Aaron Rodgers don't care who's out there. He'll go out there and draw a play on the sand, and if the receivers are open a spot, he's going to hit them. Same thing with Tom Brady. They never complain about who they're throwing the ball to. So I think it starts from the head. The leadership of both quarterbacks are going to be able to have to overcome whatever obstacle the other team throws at. Because if you're Green Bay, you want to take away the deep threat. If you're Tampa Bay, you want to disguise those zones so Aaron Rodgers won't be so comfortable in throwing.
So let me caveat. So much appreciation to Brendan. I saw your podcast on the U3 channel for the Philadelphia special. That was awesome, man. But part two of that is so I'm really worried about Todd Bowles and his ego. Kansas City punched him in the mouth when he said, "I'm just gonna let Tyreek Hill run free for 200 some odd yards." That was ridiculous. So I'm really interested in how the defensive side of the ball is really going to be game plan. Are they going to double Devontae Adams? If they don't, there's nobody in the secondary that scares you for Tampa Bay. But and I agree also that the running game, the running backs, I give the edge to Green Bay because they have more dynamic backfield. But at the same time, I'm really interested in seeing the defensive schemes because, like you said, I trust Matt LaFleur in this situation. Because Todd Bowles has been in the game too long. He's not going to change that much. I think Mike said it earlier, or even Sean said earlier, he says, "Hey, Lane, look, we'll show you this, and if you're winning, okay, as long as we keep you within range to where you can't down up the running game, okay. But then when you see it again, boop, touchdown, boop, touchdown. So it's one of those things that I'm really interested in because, like you said, he is aggressive. He hasn't changed his style all season. If New Orleans puts your boy Jameson in, I think New Orleans wins this game. Wins that game. But that's neither here nor there. But great question for Brendan as well.
Let me ask one more, if you don't mind, guys, real fast.
And then I want to hear your thoughts.
If you had to give, if you guys had to give a bigger edge to one or the other, what would it be for this particular game? Would it be Tom Brady has the edge because he changed teams and he wants to upstage Belichick and prove once and for all that it was him and not the system? Or do you give the edge to Aaron Rodgers as a snub and a big giant middle finger to the organization for drafting Jordan Love?
Mike, I think that one's going to come to you first.
Yeah, I would agree with that last statement you said. Aaron Rodgers, he said it. He wasn't happy. He was not happy with their draft. So he has a tip on his shoulder, and it proved it, statistically throughout the season. And honestly, he's in the shadow of Brett Favre. If you don't make it to that second Super Bowl, they're always going to say, "Oh, Brett Favre had 2 Super Bowls. Why doesn't Aaron Rodgers have 2 Super Bowls?" So to me,
did he win?
It's definitely Aaron Rodgers has the edge because it's been proven statistically throughout the season that he has a tip on his shoulder and he's not going to be satisfied unless he wins that Super Bowl.
Yeah, J-Mac.
It's set up too perfect for Brady. It's set up too perfect for him to come to Tampa Bay and the Super Bowl be in Tampa Bay. It's too perfect for him to get it done. This is about Aaron Rodgers. This is all about Aaron Rodgers. As hard as it's been for him in that division to even get back to this point, he's too close. He's too close to throwing up that middle finger. And like we all know, if you follow Aaron Rodgers' history, he has no problem throwing that middle finger up because too many times in his career, he's done a lot with less. And he's dealt with a whole lot of criticism. Not that Tom hasn't, but I think in terms of who should want it more, I think it's Aaron Rodgers. He has to want to get out of that shadow of Brett Favre. He wants to have to get out of that shadow of the Mike McCarthy debacle. He needs to have his name solidified because you got that young guy out of Kansas City breathing right on his neck. And if that guy gets another chip and Aaron Rodgers loses this game, it's just going to bump his marketing down. Aaron Rodgers is going to be another great one. He got a chip. Okay. But if you notice, we don't even hardly talk about Peyton Manning no more. Because of Mahomes, the flashiness of the game now is different. So I think for Aaron Rodgers, this is his last shot.
Cisco, I want to come to you on that.
I disagree with MC saying this is his last shot. I think with the way that the league is formed now and how the rules are set up, I think Aaron Rodgers has at least another 5 years in him because his arm talent is too natural for it just to go anywhere. And just kind of get back to what Brendan was saying, if I had to give it, for me, the edge, we got 11 guys on the field. It's about execution. And to me, the Green Bay has executed. They have done better, or they have executed a better game. But true enough, Tampa Bay, they got them. I understand that, or the first time. But I just think when it comes down to executing a play, Tampa Bay at times can look really sloppy on both sides of the ball. I think Green Bay has an edge in that category. So I'm interested in seeing that. Like I said, always a turnover battle, but that's if I had to give an edge, I'm giving an edge toward that. I'm leaning, or I'm betting my money, let's say, on Aaron Rodgers, but Matt LaFleur and that coaching staff versus Tampa Bay. That's my edge.
And for me, I think it's Aaron Rodgers. In my mind, I said the moment Brady went to Tampa, the only reason why Brady was going to Tampa was not to win more Super Bowls. It's because he wants to prove that his BS TB12 method works. That's why he's talking about playing till he's 45, because he wants to market that to athletes who want to extend their career and play for a long time and play at a high level for a long time. That's all he's playing for at this point. He has nothing left to prove on the football field, like nothing. For me, I think it's Aaron Rodgers, in part because I don't know if I've ever seen a quarterback with more physical talent who could do as much as Aaron Rodgers could and can, but has only gotten to and won one Super Bowl. I think Aaron Rodgers really needs to at least get to the Super Bowl at least one more time to really solidify himself in that conversation of the best quarterback to ever play. I'm not one of those guys who says, "Oh, a quarterback wins this many Super Bowls, they'll go," because I think that's BS. It's a team accomplishment. 53 guys. How many Super Bowls does Tom Brady have if Adam Vinatieri is not the kicker, or if Pete Carroll gives Marshawn Lynch the damn ball at the 1 yard line?
Stop.
You know,
But we don't talk about that.
yeah,
Go ahead and mention Atlanta.
yeah,
Well, Atlanta.
yeah,
Tuck rule.
yeah, or the tuck rule, or if Atlanta keeps giving Devontae Freeman the ball when he's averaging 7 yards a carry in the freaking Super Bowl. But that's neither here nor there, So my point is I don't use Super Bowls as a delineator for who's great. I think Aaron Rodgers is physically the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. Again, just with his ability to do everything. But I think he's got to get to a Super Bowl to really, solidify his place. And I'm not sure how much longer he's in Green Bay. Not because he's not still playing at a high level. I just think the investment they made in the first round pick in Jordan Love, at some point it's going to be a Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees type of situation where at some point they're going to say, listen, we spent a first round pick on this guy. We got to get him on the field at some point. I don't think they got to do it in the next year or so, but by like year 3 or 4 of that contract, they got to get him on the field because they got to see what he is. So I think Aaron Rodgers, and I think he knows, I think he ultimately knows if he's going to keep playing, it's probably going to be in another uniform, which is, not crazy to say anymore. But for Aaron Rodgers, that's not what we ever expected. So, Brendan, I want to come to you because I want to get your thoughts, on this game as well. How are you looking at this matchup? What are you thinking?
Well, as much as this pains me to say, and it's very, very painful. I mean, like, I would prefer to be disemboweled than say this. But Tom Brady has this edge because Tom Brady is the best quarterback that ever played the game. I heard what you just said, and Adam Vinatieri is not in the position to make those kicks without Tom Brady. The Patriots are not in the position to win all these Super Bowls without Tom Brady. Tom Brady has won Super Bowls with, except these weird fluke David Tyree helmet catches and stuff like that. I mean, he threw for 500 yards against the Eagles and he still lost the Super Bowl. David Tyree doesn't make the helmet catch. He wins that Super Bowl. So, I mean, he could very well be undefeated in Super Bowls or close to undefeated in Super Bowls. That is the measure. That is the metric by which we measure the greatest of all time is chips. If we don't talk about who the greatest gifted athletically basketball player of all time was. We just all noticed Michael Jordan as the best basketball player of all time, not just because he could score, but because the fact that he has all those rings on his fingers and he was undefeated in finals. So I think here, in this particular case, although I love the way Aaron Rodgers has played all year, and he does it with the supporting cast that he does, which is to say a less than stellar supporting cast. He's definitely the MVP this year, hands down. I think he's the MVP this year, hands down. And he's done it all as a notice to the organization that drafted Jordan Love. I think Tom Brady does have something to prove besides advertising TB12, and that is it's not the Patriots, it's not Bill Belichick, it was me the whole time. It was me doing it. And that's what I think he's stepping on the field to prove on Sunday. And unfortunately, I think he's going to prove it again. I think that he's going to go to another Super Bowl. Vegas is going to be crying because all the money is on Tampa to win the Super Bowl this year. And, I think that he is killing himself this particular year to prove that he's the genius, not Bill, not Kraft, him. So I think that's going to be the outcome of the game on Sunday.
Those some great points. I can't be mad at that, man.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, I'm one of those people, and again, the reason why I don't use rings as the ultimate sign of greatness in a team sport is because, there are great players who played on teams that just were not good enough. It didn't mean they weren't great players, and doesn't mean they're not in the conversation of the greatest to ever do it. Again, I said Aaron Rodgers is physically the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. Dan Marino is right up there for me. Never won a ring. And it wasn't because he wasn't trying. It's just they weren't good enough. And the one Super Bowl they got to, they lost to, a better 49ers football team. So, I'm not the guy who uses rings. I understand that people want to use rings because that's what we like to do with the argument is we want to take, the rings and say, oh, this guy's got this many rings and, and we use that, to define greatness. But for me, there's just so much more to it than that. Because again, you need a lot of things to go your way to win a ring in a team sport. The tuck rule is case number one for that. Everybody knows that was a fumble. The only people who didn't seem to know it was a fumble was the refs that game. So you just need a lot of things to go your way to win. Go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I was just thinking about what Brendan said. Brendan has a point, and both of you all do. But the deal about it is, that's a rabbit hole that you go down when we start thinking about what happened during a certain playoff game. We like to say one or two plays is the reason why a team wins or loses, right? We're all guilty of it, If we were talking basketball, everybody says LeBron got saved by Ray Allen with that shot, but they don't talk about what LeBron did in the third quarter and the fourth quarter to get them to that point.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In football, the reason why I said last week that Brady played a good game is because that game was a very tough back and forth battle. And late in that game, Tom Brady made some throws that only his receivers could catch it, and the receivers made some great catches. He has played in his career well enough football with the amount of quote unquote help that he's had to be considered one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. I don't have him as the greatest. I don't measure all of my all-time greats as with championships as the greatest players ever. I don't, it helps. Now, in Jordan's case, if Jordan wasn't 6 for 6, he wouldn't be the greatest in many people's eyes, because you can argue the fact that he did lose one. But in football, it's different. It's hard as hell to play that 16-game season and get to the Super Bowl. And he's been a lot of times, man. And he's won 6 of them. So I'm not going to, just because I don't like him per se as a player, I don't have anything personally against him, but I'm not going to take away the fact that the man can ball. Coming out of Michigan, undrafted. Sixth round. Was it 6th round?
He was drafted.
6th round.
6th round, right?
199.
Yeah, 199. He should play with a chip on his shoulder. His whole career has been about a chip on his shoulder. We don't like some of the stuff he's done, and we don't like all the credit being given to him, which is fair. But I just wanted to say that if we look at the whole games of these great games that we consider measuring moments for athletes' greatness, we can pick out a little bit what they didn't do, but let's always keep it real about what they did do.
So let me ask y'all a question, because I'm going to assume here everybody has probably seen every Super Bowl of the last 20 years, correct? Which means you've seen every Tom Brady Super Bowl.
Yes.
Right. So if you saw every Tom Brady Super Bowl and you were looking at the 9 Super Bowls he played in, which Super Bowl would you say he had his best game? His best game.
For me, it had to be the Atlanta game, right? He was down 21 points, I think 21 plus points. He made a comeback. That was his moment in the Super Bowl. And I have to respectfully disagree with Brennan over here, reference to, because in all of his Super Bowl victories, you never, except for the Atlanta one, you never thought that was his key moment. You know, you had John Elway. John Elway had a key moment, making sure he got his first ring. He dove into the end zone, got hit helicopter. Still, man, you could tell he really wanted it. You know, for me, Joe Montana, of course, he's my goat, my personal goat. But, you know, there were times when you just knew, this guy got the ball back. And against the Giants in that time frame, don't forget, they went undefeated during the regular season. They had the best wide receiver in the game. They set every record that there was, and they got beat. Against a great defense at the time, a great pass rush. So I just never felt that, you know, it was ever watching the Super Bowls. Tom Brady's never stood out to me, except for, of course, the Atlanta game where he made his mark. Say, hey, look, when you talk about quarterbacks, you're talking about me.
So Cisco, you said his best performance in the Super Bowl was the Atlanta game. Mike, I'm coming to you. What would you say Brady's best performance in the Super Bowl was?
Yeah, I will agree with Cisco. I think Atlanta was definitely a game that stood out for Tom Brady. But one thing that a lot of people forget to mention, man, out of the 6 all Super Bowls, and I've done research on this, he's had top 5 defense every single Super Bowl. Every single
Belichick.
one.
That's Belichick.
Every single one of them. And I will tell you, this is, and not to jump to a different team, but Green Bay's top 5 defense, 2010, the year they won the Super Bowl. This year, they got a top 10 defense. I don't know, but all I'm saying is, like you said, the game that sticks out for Tom Brady is the Atlanta game. But a lot of people forget how good that New England defense is almost every single year.
Brendan, I want to come to you on that question. You've seen all Tom Brady's Super Bowls. What would you say his best individual performance was in the Super Bowl?
You know, obviously, I'm going to have to say Atlanta, but a very, very close, a photo finish. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Super Bowl, even though he lost that Super Bowl, because, you know, he threw for over 500 yards in that Super Bowl. I mean, it's hard to be better as a quarterback in that Super Bowl. If Brandon Graham doesn't strip sack him, they probably win that Super Bowl. You know, it's very difficult to say that, you know, between that and the Atlanta Super Bowl, which one he was better in. But I'd also like to back up and speak to another point that was made. And, you know, sorry, guys, I'm not trying to dominate the conversation or anything here now since I jumped on. But we're talking about, you know, the point was made about that he's always had a good defense. So I would say 2 things about that. The first thing I would say is, why has he always had a good defense? You know, it's always the chicken or the egg argument in football. Could it be that he's always had a good defense because he was so good and his teams were so good that other teams were always playing from behind, so they had to take chances against his defenses and risk the turnovers and risk the big plays and these things to try to catch up and win these games? And the other point I would make to that is, if it is more defensive and less Tom Brady, then how does he go to Tampa? And Tampa's immediately in the NFC Championship game when he goes to Tampa. It can't be coincidence. And let me be clear, I hate this guy. I don't like this dude at all. I can't stand this dude. I hate him. I hate his wife. I hate everybody. Like, I can't stand anything about the guy, but I have to give respect where respect is due. And I think respect is due in this particular case with this guy. I don't think you can put it all on the defense. I don't think you can put it all on Belichick or the system or anything. You have to give him credit in this particular case.
Perk, I want to come to you on that question. Tom Brady, best Super Bowl you ever saw him play in individually.
Right. And the last guy who spoke, I'm going to double down. It was the Philly Super Bowl because of the statistics, even though he did lose. But, pound for pound, a lot of people say Atlanta, but I think it's the things Atlanta didn't do in that game, the coaching decisions, the play calls that gave him that opportunity. But the best play has to be the one he lost, which was Philly, because I've never seen any more laser focused, locked in, and literally score for score to keep them in the game with Philly. And again, I hate Tom Brady with a passion. I share those same sentiments. And I hate him for a different reason. I mean, I'm not knocking his talent or anything of that nature. I just hate the preferential treatment he gets on the field. The phantom penalty calls, like hitting the quarterback in the knee wasn't a problem until it happened to Tom Brady. The tuck rule, Tom Brady, like he's good enough physically, mentally, razor sharp. The treatment, some of the hits that other quarterbacks take, you breathe on Tom Brady, it's a fine and a flag. Kansas City was probably robbed from their potential, maybe a third straight Super Bowl from a phantom brushing of the jersey. I mean, this guy, I got it. He's the face of the franchise in NFL, but he's just officiated differently. And there's a few quarterbacks out there, and you've seen him cheer flags. He's a football player. He can be hit. So, but I don't deny his God-given gifts to play the talent. And if he maybe manages to get another Super Bowl in Tampa, I mean, he's still not my GOAT, but if he gets this one, I mean, I'm willing to relinquish that title.
Brendan, I know Brendan wanted to come back and make a point. Go ahead, Brendan.
Yeah, I just real quick, guys. I just wanted to say, I forgot to make this point in I was thinking of it, but I think another sign of, two things. So Joe Montana was my greatest of all time until recently, also, but we have to remind ourselves that Joe Montana played pre-free agency for the most part. So he had Jerry Rice, and he had Roger Craig, and he had Ronnie Lott, and he had John Taylor, and he had all these guys, and it was pre-free agency. These guys, it wasn't like today's game as far as other teams signing these guys to these huge contracts and things like that. The second point I want to make to that real quick is and this is an honest question for you guys, is that a sign of greatness? Changing the game, the rules of the game for one guy? I mean, they changed the free throw rule for Wilt. They changed the traveling rule for AI, for Iverson. And they changed the tuck rule for Tom Brady and hitting at the knees and all that stuff. So isn't that on its own a sign of greatness that the competition committee of your respective sport is getting together to change the whole rules of the whole game just for you?
Cisco, I saw you shaking your head. You want to jump in?
Well, just to the point, like I said, Joe Montana's my go-to. I'm not trying to turn it to, but, Joe Montana is 4-0 against his contemporaries, the people that he's up with, that he beat. He beat the Dan Marinos, he beat the Elways, he beat the Boomer Sciences. We all know this, right? And he also played, but he had one of those Super Bowls without Jerry Rice. While I agree with Brent for most part, for some of the points, I disagree on how he interpreted those particular Super Bowls. So if they're changing the rules for you, I don't think that defines greatness. I just defines that, hey, look, you're the franchise, and we want to try and call you in some way. To me, and it's been said before, he's great quarterback, but he's more of a load. He's the luckiest of all time. I mean, come on. He's had to have calls, and I know each game, every NFL game, every team sport has these moments or these calls that could change the the facets of the game, ergo or a la San Antonio versus the Phoenix Suns when Robert Horry bumped him bumped
Steve
Nash into the standing and stuff
Yeah.
like got suspended. So, I get you. But to me, there was never a time there's never been a season or a time, except for the time when he had Randy Moss, to say, or even that case, to where he's just that guy. He's just never impressed me from that. And he's a douche. If I'm perfectly honest. I mean, you don't shake hands with nobody, because
when you lose, yeah.
Yeah, that's and people say he doesn't like skip your boy Skip Bayless. He says he doesn't like losing or whatever. Like no, it's a man sport. 20 or 11 or 53 people went out on the field in some form or fashion, and just literally put their life on the line to help win a game. It's just out of respect. And like I said, he's sorry.
No, you're fine. So consensus from the panel, because I want to move on to this next game. Mike, I already know you're picking. I'm not gonna ask. James, you got Green Bay or Tampa?
I got Green Bay.
Got Green Bay. That's two for Green Bay. Cisco, Green Bay or Tampa?
Tampa.
Brendan, Green Bay or Tampa?
I got to go with Tampa, unfortunately.
All right, 2-2. Hurt, Green Bay or Tampa?
I'm going Green Bay. They're frozen tundra, and it's just Aaron Rodgers' year.
All right, and I'm going Green Bay as well. So it was 4-2 Green Bay. So want to pivot to the next game, AFC Championship game, which seems to be getting overshadowed just a little bit because obviously, the quarterback matchup's not the same. But Buffalo at Kansas City, I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes was cleared from the concussion protocol today, so it was like he's going to be a full go to play. So, Kirk, I want to come to you first on this game. Give us your thoughts on this game and how you see this thing playing out.
Well, of course, you highlighted the statement. I think hell would have froze over before Mahomes did play in this game. So I'll get that out there. Just because he never hit his head, he probably lost some circulation. But with this game, Mahomes is definitely a big play game changer. So, again, the most dynamic passing attack out there. I just do think it's going to be a shootout, which does favor what he likes to do. And Kansas City has got too many playmakers, for Buffalo to contain all at once. So right now it's Mahomes' world, and we're living in it. If Buffalo had the defense of last year or maybe a year prior, I'd give them a chance. But, Josh Allen has improved. But I think if you can contain Diggs, that's how you get to Buffalo. So I'm going KC.
Right, yeah, and I think they would have had to chop Mahomes put off like Kunta Kinte for him not to play in this game. So, J Mac, I want to come to you on this game. Where you think is Buffalo, Kansas City?
I'm going Kansas City. I'm not that overly confident in them, though. I think they should win. I just don't think they will win. I really like Josh Allen. I really like Diggs. I really like Buffalo's defense. I like Tre'Davious White. But it's too much speed on the field. And if Aaron Donald and company couldn't get to Mahomes, I don't see how Buffalo gets to him. I just think that they're top to bottom. They're a well-coached football team. Hell of an offense. You kind of worry about the defense a little bit, but as most great offensive teams, they don't really have great defenses. I just don't think that Buffalo, the stage. I think the stage would be a little bit too big for them. Just a little bit, but it's definitely. I wouldn't be shocked if those lucky plays like Cisco's alluding to when it comes to things that happens in the playoffs, there's always things that can happen if you play around with a team, and you let them hang around, gain confidence. Then the fact that they're there and they win the game going to the Super Bowl goes out the window, because now their confidence is up so much that now they believe that they can win. But I don't know if Buffalo can run the ball well enough to keep Kansas City off the field.
Yeah, that's a big concern. I think Buffalo's biggest inability is their ability to run the football with their running backs. I think if Josh Allen is their leading rusher, that's not a good look.
Yeah.
So I have a big concern about that. And Brendan, I want to come to you, but I want to throw this in. Did you see anything last week against Baltimore for Buffalo that you thought could be transferable to this week?
Well, I'm going to take Buffalo in this game for a couple of reasons. I think that whether Pat plays or not, he's going to be less than 100%. And also, Trey White covering Cheetah. I like that matchup. They just got to have Trey cover Cheetah the whole time. And lastly, I think an overlooked aspect of this game is Buffalo's coach knows Andy Reid very, very well. He grew up under Andy Reid.
Right.
He got all his coaching chops, everything he learned when he was a young guy, he learned under Andy Reid. Eventually, the son beats the father. And Buffalo's been rolling. Buffalo's been rolling late in the season. They're putting points up. Stefan has transformed Josh's offense. Josh looked like a trash bust before Diggs got there. And really, Diggs has shown what one really, really good wide receiver can do for an offense. He's really transformed it and made this particular quarterback go from bust to MVP candidate in 1 year. So I think, if you put McDermott and that McDermott's knowledge of Andy Reid coupled with the way the Buffalo's offense has been playing and their lights out defense, I think this is, it's like baseball. You really got to get rolling in October, not in July. And Buffalo's rolling right now. So my expectation is that they're actually going to take this game.
Right, and Mike, I want to come to you and get your thoughts. How you see this game playing out?
Hey, so you keep forgetting that Mahomes is not 100%. He also has a toe injury. With that being said, I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs, and I think like J Mac said, man, I think the stage is too bright. For Josh Allen, he's known to give you a couple turnovers. I think that's going to play a factor, in especially in Arrowhead. And I think the X factor is going to be Kelsey, man. Can no one in that defense can be able to stop Kelsey from getting that rock? He's going to do whatever he wants to do on that field, and I think that's going to be the X factor. And I think it's going to be a 31-21 type of game.
Right, and Cisco, just want to come to you. Get your take on this game, how you see it playing out.
So one thing I like about Buffalo, they have no qualms about what they are. They know they don't have a running game, and they are okay with that, and they're going to throw what they have at you and tell you to deal with it. That, unfortunately, I believe plays a little bit into the Kansas City frame of mind, because they still have good edge rushers. They can still get to the quarterback off the line, which was proven by Indy, and it's been known that, or it's been seen that Allen can get flustered and he can panic. He just hasn't been on this stage yet. Don't get me wrong, I think Allen's a great quarterback. He has a strong arm. And then kind of going with Brendan's point, I understand McDermott came up under the Andy Reid coaching tree, but I just think schematically, if you ever got, I don't know if you guys ever watched the movie, the newer version of the A-Team with Liam Neeson. Andy Reid reminds me of that character as far as you give him a week, he's good. You give him 2 or 3 weeks, he's damn near unbeatable. I just think that when it comes down to the X's and O's factor, to be able to scheme up an offense and a defensive sets, I think that edge has to go to Kansas City. Ask the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, and so that was a shot at hurt, obviously, but so a couple things for me when I'm thinking about this game. Kansas City's secondary is incredibly opportunistic. And if I look at the teams that beat Kansas City this year or played them close, it was the teams that were able to run the football and be really, really balanced and then take their shots at a certain time. So going back early in the season when they lost to the Raiders really ran Josh Jacobs, well. They were kind of quick to come down in the box. And then they were able to take their shots deep with like Aguilar and some of their receivers. I don't know if Buffalo will be balanced enough to really test Kansas City defensively. And then the other thing, too, is obviously the best defense against Patrick Mahomes is to keep him on the sideline. The more he's on the field, the longer he's on the field. You just know they're going to find a way to do it. And not to, pour salt in the wounds. But I go back to the Super Bowl last year. The Niners were really dominating that game. But Mahomes got a couple extra possessions in the second half. And that really, for me, was the difference in, Kansas City ultimately pulling out the Super Bowl. I just feel like Buffalo offensively is just not balanced enough to test Kansas. I think Andy Reid and Sean Payton are two of the best play designers and play callers in the NFL. They just find things every week that we don't see, and they'll figure out a way to get it in the game. And I expect to see a couple of those wrinkles on Sunday. So I got Kansas City winning. One matchup that's really intriguing, though, is I want to see how Edmonds does trying to cover Kelsey, middle linebacker from Buffalo. He is an athletic freak. He can deal with the best of them. And I want to see how well Kansas City schemes to get Kelsey open, whether they're using pick plays, things of that nature to get him open. So it's going to be an interesting, I think, chess match a little bit defensively. But, Buffalo, again, with Leslie Frazier and with Sean McDermott, they kind of are what they are defensively. I think, I don't know if they got enough of an edge rush to get after Mahomes. I think it's going to really depend on whether or not Oliver can get, some pressure up the middle, but I just don't see them doing it enough to really throw Kansas City off their game. So anybody got any other thoughts on that game?
Diggs is he's going to be a problem. I do believe Diggs is going to have a great game. I think that's going to help Josh Allen. But are there fans in the stands in Kansas City?
Yeah, they got some.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care about COVID.
Yeah, those are the same fans that booed Unity in Week 1.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they don't care about that. They care more about barbecue than Unity. I promise you. But no, I think it's and see with Diggs.
So
again,
wait. Let me just. I'm sorry, Sean. If I could just ask real quick. So on the record, am I the only one that's taking Buffalo to win this game?
I believe so.
Yeah, it appears so.
I think you're taking Buffalo and Tampa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a website offline I can give to you for support. I just don't want to, put it out there right now. But
Does it have anything to do with gambling?
hey, you know what though? Hey, you mentioned that, but that's the X factor of all these games.
Yeah, well, I know Green Bay has got 3.5 points, and Kansas City's got 3 points as of right now. So we'll see, how that plays out. But yeah, just go ahead. And I was gonna say, I'm sorry, to J Mac's point about Diggs. I do expect Kansas City to roll coverage his way. I think you got to make Brown or one of those other young receivers beat you. I don't think they're going to let Diggs kill them this game. I expect them to have some bracket coverage with Sorensen or even Honey Badger over the top with Ward or Breland or whoever's covering Diggs. So that's kind of my expectation from Kansas City defensively.
Right, and I think that's their downfall. And you hit that nail on the head. You can't beat Kansas City one-dimensional, and if you can't run the football, you can't take time off the clock. And the last thing you want to do is get into a shootout with Kansas City because you're going to lose. Moss may have helped some, but you got to shorten the game. You got to shorten the possessions because, from Sammy Watkins to Hardeman those are track stars. And even as great as White is, no one can cover the Cheetah one-on-one. And as soon as you roll coverage, either the Kelsey or the Cheetah, one of those other guys, that runs a 4-4 is taking a slant to the house. The screen game is incredible. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if he does play, Kansas City is the best offense in football. And as great as Josh Allen is, I just don't see them doing enough to slow down. But stranger things have happened. Flea flickers, something out the way. But Buffalo, they just don't have enough from a talent perspective to just match up with Kansas City.
Yeah, and what's crazy to your point, Herb, I don't even think they need Clyde Edwards-Helaire to win this game. Like Damian Williams and Le'Veon Bell as a 1-2 punch are really enough. For Kansas City offensively, if they get Edwards-Helaire back, that's just icing on the cake as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So, and they can pound the rock as well. And what does Buffalo do? Buffalo doesn't play the run very well. And to their point, they stack the box against my boy Lamar. You do that against Mahomes, you committing suicide.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long day if they try that. So and again, I think Leslie Frazier, again, very good defensive coordinator. I think he's going to try to throw some wrinkles out there to kind of, especially early in the game, to kind of see if they can mix some things up. But I just don't think it'll be enough. And if they cannot play football, that Kansas City offense is going to be on the field way too much, unless they're turning the ball over, which again I don't expect from Mahomes. So yeah, B, I think you're the only one who's got Buffalo in this game. Unless you want to make, change your pick now.
No, I'll just say that I expect handwritten, hand-delivered apologies from each and every person on this panel after the game is over. And the reason I didn't chime in a little bit earlier is I was busy on the website putting $250 on the first half, Buffalo plus 2.5. So I appreciate that.
So you're betting that Buffalo will be in the lead by 2 points by the end of the half?
They have the first half spread is Buffalo plus 2.5.
Wow.
It's not bad.
Wow.
That's not a bad bet either.
That's the first half spread. I bet halves because I like to double down on my my winnings.
Right.
I think one of the only questions that are out there is the over under is the game going to be over 55 points or over 7 points?
I wish I could get on a smartphone, but I'm not a new customer.
Well, actually,
Well, the over under for the first half is 24. The over under for the first half is 24 and a half. I'm not sure what I just saw over there, but to the point about stacking the boxes, Buffalo doesn't have to stack the box against Pat Mahomes. He's he's mobile, but he's not that mobile. And Buffalo's defense is that good. They don't have to stack the box against Pat. And also, we got to remember, is Pat going to be out of the protocol by then? And if he is out of the protocol, how back is he going to be?
He's out.
We don't know how good Pat is going to be that day. Yeah, but how good is he really going to be that day? Like,
I'll take a
we just don't know. Like,
yeah, he's got turf toe too.
Yeah,
75% Mahomes against right.
Yeah, I know he's dealing with the turf toe, but he still made a couple of really good runs against Cleveland, even with the toe. So I don't know if it'll be a huge issue. But again, does Kansas City need Mahomes to play or be at 100% to beat Buffalo? With what they have.
I don't trust anything on Buffalo's defense. I think they were. It was proven by the Colts. They can't stop the run. And if anybody else is and if Jacoby Brissett is in that game versus the Colts or versus the Bills, I think the Colts win that game. There's nothing on the Buffalo defense side of the ball that scares anybody. There's nothing that they can do.
Agreed. And if any other head coach besides Frank Wright is making decisions to coach in that game, yeah.
And I got an alibi, man. I think.
Oh my God.
And I'm gonna go with the. I'm gonna jump. I might change my pick here. If Green Bay wins first, then I'm going for the Bills. Because I know the Bills' defense ain't that great.
It's gonna be a game time decision.
Hey, well, listen. I don't think, and again, not that the NFL wants to determine matchups in the Super Bowl, but I don't think the NFL cares who wins the first game. I think they absolutely care who wins the second game because they like quarterback matchups in the Super Bowl. Go ahead, sister.
Yeah. No. I'm agreeing with you there because if it's Aaron Rodgers versus either way, if it's Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady in the Super Bowl against which I'm predicting to be against Kansas City. One, it almost symbolizes the changing of the guard. That's like a storyline, right? And then the fact that I think this run that Andy Reid's been on, even though he got Patrick Mahomes, it kind of shows you, that you have a great quarterback, but you really need that great coach to help you take the next step. Right. And vice versa. I think they feed off one another. And that goes back to our conversation reference to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I think Bill Belichick doesn't win all Super Bowls without Tom Brady and vice versa. So it's a give and take relationship because and Brendan can tell when he's a Philly fan, he 4 NFC championships in a row. That's ridiculous.
Right.
I think that's just. I will put my money on that. Make it to the Super Bowl and actually win the Super Bowl for KC.
So, question for everybody: Would you all say that this season, just regular season, that Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers were probably the two best quarterbacks in the NFL this season?
Aaron Rodgers, definitely.
I would have to say I don't know. I think Deshaun Watson really showed his talent with the lack of talent that's around him. Interim head coach. A failing system. I really honestly have to give that to Deshaun Watson right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers.
Is it Aaron Rodgers and who?
Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers.
Right. And I'm with
I
that.
don't think nobody playing better than him this year.
Yeah.
I don't either. No, what I was saying is I've always said Aaron Rodgers is the greatest thrower of the football I've ever seen, from the ability to make all the throws and things of that nature. Where he gets the knock is, the Super Bowls and the playoff wins and things of that nature that we judge quarterback from just a pure skill, ability. A lot of people can make the argument, and Mike and I have had this conversation. You put a Deshaun Watson or an Aaron Rodgers with the weapons Mahomes has, it could be even better. I mean, what I'm saying? I'm not saying Mahomes isn't great, but I mean, look at what he has around him. Aaron Rodgers literally takes guys that, are not 1 and 2s and, outside of Devontae Adams. I mean, come on. You see what Watson's doing. I mean, they got rid of Hopkins. They got rid of pretty much everything, and look what he's doing. So, those two, just from a throwing of the football, which is the number one job of a quarterback, I've never seen no one spin it better than Aaron Rodgers.
Warren Moon.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'll say I think they're both capable of doing the same every single play. They can make any throw on the field. I think what separates Aaron Rodgers from Mahomes, in my opinion, is the adjustments before the ball gets hyped. Before that ball gets hyped, Aaron Rodgers just makes all the adjustments. He knows where to put all the, make all the calls before that ball gets hyped, and it's a wrap. Once he knows what the defense is doing, it's game over.
Right.
Yeah, I like that point too. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't turn the. I understand we're going into Tampa Bay. They have the 2 turnovers, the 2 pick sixes, but Aaron Rodgers doesn't make mistakes with the football on most occasions. And Patrick Mahomes, he can get kind of cowboyish and and try to force it in there.
Yeah, and I think Aaron Rodgers, if I'm not mistaken, has 89 career interceptions in the regular season. It's like some ridiculous, small number of interceptions. And, and it was crazy because I read something where he said he can remember every single interception and what happened and why. And, he takes ownership for them, but it's like, dude, you only got 89 interceptions. And it's not like he's handing the ball off 40 times a game. Like, he's throwing the ball a lot.
Yeah, he's throwing it to fans. You know how many fans catches his passes during his career?
Yeah, he throws it to the fans in a minute.
He throws it to the water boy, the water girl.
Yeah.
He threw it to me one time. And I was watching NFL from Korea.
Yeah. So just real quick, I just gotta ask you all, if you're building an all-time team, all-time NFL team, and you're picking one quarterback, who's your quarterback and why? And I'm gonna start with Mike.
Wait, I'm sorry, Sean. Can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mahomes versus Rodgers. I think the difference is actually off the field. Mahomes signed his gigantic contract, and immediately his girlfriend got pregnant. Whereas Rodgers has stayed single this whole time and just had a cascade of beautiful women coming in and out of his life the entire time. I'm going to give the edge to Rodgers.
I love that.
Bravo.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to go back and replay that statement again when it's real quick because that was outstanding.
Right.
Yeah.
That could be a top 5 question too. What athletes have more beautiful girlfriends / fiancés / whatever?
Oh, number one is very easy. That's
I know. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, did he get those girls off Instagram, Facebook, TikTok?
Hey, Derek Jeter has got to be the number one. No way.
Without question.
Derek Jeter. The maximum top 100 or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was basically Tony Stark. Like he was that. So real quick, one quarterback. You're building your all-time team, your all-22 team. You got one quarterback historically. Who you choosing and why? Mike, I'm coming to you first.
Prime or right now?
Yeah, taking them, at their prime, or just who would you want as your quarterback for your all-time team?
I hate to be biased, man, but I'm gonna have to stick with Aaron.
Yeah.
Just like Herc said, man, and like everybody here said, I have never seen, and I've been spoiled, man.
Yeah.
I went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers because before that it was way past my time. That was way before. But I've been spoiled, so I got to see Brett Favre throw the ball, and then here comes I like ain't nobody gonna be like Brett Favre, and here comes Aaron Rodgers, and statistically it's like out of control. So I would say Aaron Rodgers, man. Talent wise, I've never seen it. But I'm gonna stick with Rodgers. Stick with Aaron.
And I want to comment on that because I've always said historically, 3 fan bases should never complain about quarterbacks. If you go back to back, Green Bay with Favre to Rodgers, San Francisco with Montana to Young, and the Colts with Manning to Andrew Luck. Yep. You should have nothing to complain about.
Nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm hoping Jordan Love works out.
Yeah. If they keep him on the bench, I think he will. I don't think he's ready to play yet, but if they keep him on the bench, I think he will. J Mac, coming to you, same question.
And if he doesn't work out, screw you, man. You've had enough luck already.
What's the question again?
The question is, you building your all 22 team. You picking one quarterback historically. Who you
number
want?
18.
You want number 18?
I want number 18.
You want number 18 from Denver? Or you want number 18?
You know which number 18 I'm talking about. you know which Omaha standing tall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Number 18 could play in cowboy boots, and I'm still picking him.
Yeah. Yeah. Cisco, coming to you.
Joe.
Yeah.
Just Joe Cool. I mean, while each of the quarterbacks, Tom Brady, or Tom Brady, Steve Young, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, and even John Elway. I think John Elway for me is a close second. When it comes to that 1 minute, 2 minute drill, there's not too many people better. Who do you trust more? And for me, if you're able to point out during the Super Bowl, hey, look, John Kennedy, then go drive down the field and then score the winning and throw the winning touchdown pass. That's it for me, Joe. Who, by the way, I believe retired a little bit too early, but that's just me.
All right, Brendan, coming to you. Same question.
Unfortunately, I have to go with the guy who split time in college with Drew Henson, was drafted 199, and turned out to fill up both of his hands with Super Bowl rings. I have to go with Tom Brady. I mean, competitive edge. What else do you need? The guy just, he just wins and wins and wins and wins more than anybody else has won. So if I'm going to start a team, I guess I got to start a team with that guy.
All right, deflated footballs and all, got it. Hurt, coming to you. Who's your quarterback? You picking all 22 teams. Who's the guy you picking?
Well, I mean,
First of all, I need to say this though. He doesn't know who to choose from because the Baltimore Ravens hadn't had any great quarterbacks. But
well, I'm saying like he doesn't pick from his team. But you didn't think Dylan was a great quarterback?
We've had serviceable quarterbacks, but that's a conversation for another reason. But no, put it out there. But I'm going against the norm. I mean, everybody likes the pocket passer and things of that nature. I'm a dual threat guy. So if I'm picking a guy that I want, I'm going Russell Wilson because he can do both. From, the aspect and things of that nature, I think for a long time, in Seattle was all about the Legion of Boom. But, Seattle is all he had. And if I'm picking a guy, I want a guy who can use his legs as well as, pinpoint accuracy that doesn't turn the football over and things of that nature. I like Russell Wilson.
Yeah. Russell Wilson's an interesting pick. I didn't think anybody would pick Russell Wilson. I'm actually going off the board a little bit too. I'm taking Randall Cunningham, but I want the merger of Randall Cunningham, the running Randall Cunningham in Philadelphia, but the throwing
Minnesota.
Nah, you can only get one of them.
No, because he can still run a little bit.
Exactly. I wanted that too.
Yeah, that guy. Like watching highlights of him now, I'm like, man, he was a bad man.
Bad man. Yeah. Who also played in Baltimore too.
Yeah, and as a point, he kept playing, and I don't know if he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. I think it's debatable. But the guy was, I mean, he was the man, point blank. So, well, hey, listen, this is great talk on football. Looking forward to Sunday. It seems like everybody, the consensus of the panel, we're going to have a Kansas City, Green Bay Super Bowl. I won't ask who people will pick in that Super Bowl just yet. We'll see how it plays out first, and then we'll, obviously talk about it a little bit. I got NBA Friday on the discussion for tonight. We don't have to talk NBA. We spend a lot of time talking football. So I don't know if NBA even really should even be talked about tonight.
It should.
It should, yeah.
At least one thing.
What happened? What's up?
As we speak, there's a minute and 23 seconds left. Cleveland Cavaliers is beating the Brooklyn Nets 120-106.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving has 24 shots and 38 points. James Harden, 14 shots, 19 points.
Yeah, and Kevin Durant
Cleveland got 6 people in double figures.
Are you serious? They playing again? Damn, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they're doing more back-to-backs, home and home back-to-backs to cut down the travel.
Yeah, but Kevin Durant still, he's not playing, right?
He's not playing.
Yeah, because they got a back-to-back, so they play tomorrow night, so he's not playing tonight.
Wow. It's interesting.
Kyrie, 2 games, 50 shots. 50 plus shots.
Just really quick.
I ain't mad at him, man.
Just really quick, because I want to ask everybody, how far y'all see Brooklyn going this season? Where do y'all got them going this season?
Eastern Conference Finals.
Finals.
Yeah. I just don't think they got the chemistry, and if you don't play defense, especially in the playoffs, you normally go home.
They should go to the finals.
You got to go to the finals.
They should go to the finals.
But where you got
second round. Eastern Conference.
Yeah. What about you? Go ahead, Herc.
No, what I'm saying, they're this year's version of the Clippers last year, in my opinion.
That's an interesting.
That's because of coaching for me. For me, it's coaching.
Okay.
It's not the talent; it's the coaching and the lack of post play, but which I think they'll correct in the buyout market. So I'm not really concerned with how their team looks right now. I just don't think that Steve Nash and company will figure out how to balance those minutes, how to stagger those minutes.
Yeah, Mike, what about you? How far you got them going?
I'll say the Eastern Conference Finals.
Let's go.
I got this pegged as probably one of the that's one of the greatest failures of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're with those personalities, those sensitive egos, they are primed for a meltdown. So I think they don't have a coach they respect. They have Kyrie Irving, who is Kyrie Irving. You have Kevin Durant, who's as right now one of the top two players in all of the NBA. And you got James Harden, who doesn't play defense. So I think they'll make it to the playoffs. I don't think they're going to go as far as most people think. I just think they're going to melt. They're going to melt down. They're going to have an internal meltdown. And I don't think if they were, you would need a personality like a Tyronn Lue. You need a personality like a Doc Rivers. You need a personality like Steve Kerr to be able to kind of hold everybody together, hold everybody accountable, and get everybody to buy in that system. Right now, I think they're just free balling it.
They need a Greg Popovich.
Greg Popovich slap. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he'll slap Kyrie.
He'll do chop Kyrie.
Yeah. Brendan, what about you? How far you got him going?
I have them going to the Eastern Conference semis. I just don't think that a team that has to play 5-on-4 defensively all the time with James Harden on the floor can get to the conference finals. I also don't think that a team that has a guy who thinks that the earth is flat and shoots 50 times in 2 games playing point is going to make it very far. It's a conflict of egos. There's only one basketball. Steve Nash is a rookie coach. He doesn't have experience managing egos like that. And I just think it's too much too soon for Brooklyn this year.
What do y'all think about these so-called analysts and folks giving them a championship or bust label this season?
I am too. Look, we're talking about 3 guys that are not. This is not a organic type situation. These guys have been in the league 10 plus years, and all 3 of them have been either to the finals or conference finals, and they've all been on teams where there have been other superstars on their teams. So, and this is their decision. They decided to do this. I'm not giving them a pass because it's hard to win your first year. You got to gel and all that. I understand all that. But this was their decision. The talent that those 3 guys have, ain't no way they shouldn't get to the finals.
Right.
I don't think they should win it because I don't think they're a complete team. No post play, no defense. And again, like Brendan said, and I just highlighted 50 shots in 2 games. You've been out for 6 games because you needed a break. I can't take a break if I need it. If I need a break from my job, I got to fill out some paperwork. I got to, you know what I'm saying? I got to act like I got COVID or something, you know what I'm saying? And not to be funny, because I know COVID is pretty bad in the world right now. But I'm just saying, I got to go through a bunch of hoops and all kind of stuff just to get a day off. But this guy takes 6 days off. Don't tell nobody, and everybody like, it's okay. It's cool. When all he had to do was say, hey, look, I need some time off. So I like Cisco says, they're fragile. And I don't think Durant has the balls to just say, this is my motherfucking team. Point blank period. It's my motherfucking team. Look, we were talking about this earlier. Why is there a discussion about who's the best player in the game right now? LeBron is 36 years old. Kevin Durant, it should be hands down his league. Hands down. So,
so not to, I guess, to change the topic.
Go ahead.
Surprised about, nobody's really talking about this team, and this team has some impressive wins. The Utah Jazz, they're 11-4 with victories over the Bucks. They lost to the Nets away, but they beat the Spurs. They beat the Clippers. They have 2 wins over the Phoenix Suns. They beat the Trailblazers. I mean, as of right now, the Jazz, they are looking really good, and they're beating them. They're beating teams handily, like 20 points.
I was on a live stream a few weeks ago after they signed Gobert to the extension, and I was arguing about the Jazz being one of the top teams in the West, and they thought I was crazy. And I said, listen, they went to the bubble last year without a 20-point scorer in Bogdanovich. They get him back. You get another year with Mike Conley in that system with Donovan Mitchell, with Gobert, with Ingles, with some of their other Royce O'Neal. They get Derek Favors, who can come in and give them some minutes. I'm not a big Clarkson fan, but he gives them some decent minutes. That's a good team, and they're well coached. It's just the only issue I have with the Jazz is that their name is the Jazz, and they're in Utah. They need to give that name to New Orleans and get another name. That's neither here nor there. The point is they're a good team. That's a good team, and I don't know how they would match up with the Lakers in a 7-game series, but they could give the Lakers some problems just because of their versatility. And Donovan Mitchell is a closer, and he's slowly becoming one of the better closers in the league. So nobody's talking about him. To your point, Cisco, I agree. I think it's crazy.
Yeah, they are good. They are looking good.
Yeah. So
what about those Knicks, though?
Well, I think the Knicks are you got to give Tom Thibodeau some credit there, but they're 8-7. They did beat the Warriors last week or 2 nights ago, or last night or 2 nights ago. So, yeah, and it was I did have my eye on them. I was watching another live stream. They were saying, do they trade or keep Randall? I don't think you need him, but that's just me.
You don't think they need him?
I don't think he's a part of their long-term future, but yeah.
You don't think so? So he's trade bait?
Yeah, I think he's trade bait.
He's playing for value.
Well, he's got another year on his deal at $20 million, so I think he's definitely going to be trade bait this coming off season as an expiring contract. But they got Toppin, and I think they want to eventually get Toppin. They want to get Toppin on the floor, so we'll see. So
he might be an all-star this year, though.
Randall, yeah.
He maybe takes his value up, but we'll see. So anything else NBA? Anything worth talking about?
I'm getting ready for football this weekend, man.
Yeah.
NBA can wait.
Yeah, NBA can wait. So as we get ready to close this thing out, you know how we do. We got to go top 5, of course. Anybody got a top 5 they want to do tonight?
Yeah, I got a top 5, man.
Okay, all right.
Here we go.
All the kids put to bed.
Yeah. Hold on. Wait. Don't forget we're on live. We're live too.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
I still haven't transitioned to my second career yet, so you know.
Yeah.
Top 5 condom brands.
Nah,
I'm joking, man. I'm joking.
let my wife see this. What you know about these?
No, I ain't getting nobody in trouble.
Well,
man.
I'll start with that one. Guys. That's Trojan Magnums for me.
Absolutely. But I don't wear those no more since I'm a long married, happily married man.
Yeah, you putting fuel to the fire, I'm hurt. You putting fuel to the fire. You shouldn't even be. You should be just like me and Mike. We quiet. That's all we just quiet.
I got 3 kids impossible. It's a strong piece.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You gotta come up with a building.
I got a legit one though. Top 5. What's your top 5 car brands, vehicle brands?
Oof.
Oh wow.
Oh, I know. I'm hurt. Wait.
You got to put a stipulation that you personally owned or you wish to own. Like when I hit the Mega Millions tonight.
Honda Odyssey. Oh wait, my bad. Wait.
Nah. If there's anybody on this panel own 5 cars?
No.
Okay.
No.
So let's it could be fictional. It could be something that ain't even came out yet. But just your top 5 brands.
Okay.
So let me do my top 5 favorite cars.
Oh, favorite cars. There we go.
Favorite cars. So one is the 1969 Dodge Charger for me. Is just the old Dukes Hazzard car. It's one of my favorite cars of all time. My dad still has it. You can just go inside the car and you can just smell the history and whatever else is in there. Number 2 is whatever's free. Number 3 is whatever's free. Number 4 is whatever's paid off. And number 5, of course, whatever's paid off. Those are my top 5 brands.
Brendan, you want to go? I know you got to run. You want to go?
Well, I mean, listen, I love the car that I have now, Mercedes-Benz. I've had 3 Mercedes in a row. I love them. I'm not a mechanic. I'm sure mechanics hate them. But, I love that car. I also love the Gran Torino. I think it's a beautiful car. I give it its props for being a muscle car and everything like that. I'm going to go with one of my first cars, which was a 1974 Ford Maverick, which was the equivalent of driving an aircraft carrier down the street. You guys are too young for that. Google it. Look it up. And then my third car I loved, but it broke all the time, but I still loved it, was a Fiat. It was a Fiat Spider 2000. I love that little convertible sucker. It was nice.
Hurt.
Wow. Okay. A childhood memory. My dad drove a 1978 Grand Prix. Cobra Jet had a big snake on the back, so that was my first race car growing up. Partial to the car I drive today, which is an F-Type Jag, so that's what's my dream car, and I'm actually living that. Outside of that, I would say Acura, BMW, and Honda, because I personally own vehicles in that family. So that's for me.
Mike? You're on mute,
bro.
So I'm gonna go with my childhood car. My dad owned a 1984 Mazda RX-7. Rotary. That's one of my favorite cars.
Yes.
Second, I'm gonna go with my very first car, and don't judge me because I got a $450 speeding ticket on this when I was driving down South Carolina. Dodge Neon, believe it or not, I had a souped up Dodge Neon.
Wait. First of all, I don't know if you can put souped up and neon.
Hear me out, man.
I don't know what you can do.
Hey, man.
I'm just saying.
As we have two Puerto Ricans on the panel tonight, that's very Puerto Rican of you to have a suit.
Oh man!
How dare you?
Oh, nice, man.
How dare you? I've never owned a Neon. How dare you?
My next one's gonna be a Toyota 1.8 hatchback. And then
exactly. There you go. The Corolla Club.
Yep, the Punte Ocho. Yep. And then my last one, man, is a 1986 Cadillac Capri, man. I always like the old school Cadillac, the big bodies.
Yeah. J-Mac.
Oh man, I got to go with my first old school car, 1985 Oldsmobile Tornado. Then I got to go with J30. Always Infiniti J30, always been one of my favorite cars. Also Infiniti Q45, which I own one of those. Is another one of my favorite cars. Cadillac CTS and a Cadillac CT6.
So I gotta tell a story real quick about J-Mac's Oldsmobile Tornado. He had a lime. I don't know. It wasn't even lime. It was
lime gold.
It was like a lime gold Oldsmobile Tornado on Fort Lee, Virginia, and it was the most recognizable car on Fort Lee. You could never. He could never creep in that car. Like everybody knew who it was. And it had Quake in the trunk. That I remember. A lot of Quake. So, yeah. So
got me in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. 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 So for me, I got to go with what the car I have now, a BMW 5 Series 535. It was my dream car. I love it. Again, to the point that Brendan made about mechanics not liking it. I know they don't like it, but I don't care. I have a dream of one day getting a 1980 Chevy Monte Carlo and fixing it up and restoring it. I love that Chevy Monte Carlo. I just think there's still something very fly about it. And even every time I watch Training Day, I always think about, I got to get that car one day. I live in Atlanta. I see a lot of fancy cars. I love the Maserati. I just think they're really, really sleek cars, Maseratis. And then I like the Teslas. I don't know why. It's just something cool about them. I just really love them. And then I guess my last one, I'm gonna have to go with an SUV. Would be a Range Rover. I just like the Range Rover. Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Let me change one of my paid off ones to the Chevy Tahoe. I love the Tahoe. There's nothing you can do. You can take any year Tahoe, and they usually hold their value for quite some time.
Yeah,
and they're multi. I love the Tahoe.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna say LMTV.
I just want America to show. I just wanted to be known that in America, the boy Cisco is the only one to stay in America. Cool, America strong.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I like that. Yeah, I'll buy American if they make something as nice as a European car.
But he wearing Chinese headphones.
No, that's not true. Well, I can't help it. It's Dell. Dell made it, but Dell is made in America, though. There you go.
That's what they tell you on the package. But
that's what it says right there. They're right there in Austin. Right there.
Yeah, I mean,
outsource through.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Hey, well, listen, man, this was fun. Again, really enjoyed breaking down the games with you guys. Looking forward to this weekend. We may actually go live Sunday night after the games. So if you don't have them, turn your notifications on. We may. It's not a guarantee. It just depends on how the games play out. I know it's going to be kind of late Sunday once the last game goes off, but we may go live, and it won't be for this long. Maybe for just a few minutes, just to give your thoughts on the two games. But appreciate you guys joining again. It was fun. Looking forward to doing this again soon. And again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the U3 Sports Talk channel and turn on your notifications so whenever we drop content or go live, you guys will get notified. Because again, I love doing this. This is a lot of fun, and and I'm looking forward to Sunday. My whole day is planned around those two games, so I'm looking forward to it. So, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to sign off for the night. And again, thank you all for watching, being with us, and until next time, we'll see you.
Hey man, peace, man. Y'all be safe, bro.
Say, bro.
Y'all take care, brother.